Hello, everybody. How are you doing on this fine Sunday evening? Sorry if we're a minute late, but hey, we gave you guys time to get in. So hopefully, you have had a good weekend. So we've got a lot of fun things to talk about tonight. Forgive me if I do a little coughing or anything. I came down with a cold. I don't know how I came down with the cold when I don't leave my house, but I got a cold. But anyways, we're gonna do this and we're gonna have fun. And as always, I don't do it by myself. I have the always man about town, Uncle Ed. How you doing, Ed?
Peter Brown, once again, I'm in the. Oh, there you are. There's a camera over here. There you go. Yeah, I'm once again in the car. But hey, I'm still doing the show, man.
You're here. That's what matters.
And the sun's in my face.
Yeah, well, for a few minutes, right? It's gonna get dark.
Yeah, it'll go down eventually.
Yeah, so forgive if I do some coughing today. So that's gonna happen. Yeah, it was funny. Is I don't. The only place I go is to the soccer games, really. And somehow I came down with a cold. I don't know. I don't leave my house really, other than that. So I don't know how I came down with a cold, but here I am, coughing and everything. So
Probably being the pool, Peter. The pool. Out sweating, doing your lawn.
so you're saying sitting in the pool, I'm going to get a virus because that's what a cold is, right? It's a virus.
I think so, man. I think you're just, you're looking for it. You're out in the lawn. You're doing your lawn. You're
Yeah, yeah,
jumping in the pool. You're, doing all these
yeah.
activities out there. You're exposing yourself to the
Uh,
elements.
well, today I was pressure washing my driveway, so that was the project today. So there's always a project every weekend. There's always a project. But anyways, let's before again, we got a lot to talk about tonight. And I don't even know where to start. So we'll I'm going to ask Ed in a few minutes where we should start. But we've got some drama with Mascherano and his cell phone that could be fun to talk about. Obviously, we got a game that happened. That in DC we could talk about, and then of course we've got Orlando coming up as well. So there's several things we could talk about, and I don't know where we start, but we'll get to all that in just a minute or two. Because first we got to say thank you to our sponsor, and that is Caneswear. Caneswear is located in Davie, Florida, just south of 595 on University Drive. If that's too far for you to go to caneswear.com. All orders over $99 ship for free, and use FMTV 10 to save 10% online. They have all the great messy stuff, all the messiest wall in all of South Florida. So you can get all your Inter Miami gear right there. So support a local business by going there. And
All right.
also, if you want to leave us a voicemail, and we do have a voicemail today, and I'm not going to forget it because I forgot him last week, and I won't forget him this week. So we're going to go to the voicemail as soon as you touch on this topic. Whichever, I'm going to let you pick where we go, Ed, because sometimes I have a vision of where we're going to go, and then you sidetrack it. So we're going to let you pick. That's okay. Tonight it's spin the wheel of topics, and you get to pick. But if depending on where you go, we'll touch on this voicemail because I've already pre-listened to it. So I already know what's going on with that one. So before we get too far, let's say hi to everybody in the chat. First off, I see Francisco Garcia in here. One world, one goal. Saying, oh, they're talking about you in the car. I think just your place in the. Oh, I don't know what that is. Maybe not. Eric Thomas is here. Damian Guzman. So let me star that. I'm going to put a star on this one so we can come back to his question there. Julio Enriquez is here. Nick Smith. One World, One Goal likes my Freedom to Dream shirt. And oh yeah, Mr. Krabs is here. Julio has an interesting question. Is Uncle Ed living out of his car?
Probably will soon.
No, it's just he's always on the move, always on the move, always moving about, a man about town. So Ed, before we get too far, let's start off by just saying this. Hey, thank you to everybody for helping us get to past past 10,000 subscribers. So we finally got past 10,000 subscribers, and appreciate that. Obviously, we know that a lot of that's got to do with Messi, but appreciate everybody that's watching whatever content we put out. So and everybody that's here. I mean, you guys are here week in, week out, every week. We really appreciate you guys. So thanks
Yeah.
everybody for that.
Well, Peter, I guess we could start with well, it's a tale of two halves, right? The
Oh,
first
I hate
half.
that saying. It's
Oh,
one of the most cliche sayings.
and
It's the most
and
cliche
that's
saying.
why I said it, because you hate it.
I used it, and I'm like, yeah, it's so
And then
so
you're like, why
cliche.
did I say that?
It's
Yeah,
so
like,
cliche.
yeah. But yes, and we're full of cliches, man. So it's all good. Um, the first half was just we were terrible. Mascherano, trying to rest people. We had basically the whole starting lineup in the bench, and
Okay, well, pause right there. Pause right there. Can we? So, Inter Miami travels to Washington D.C. DC is, for those that don't know, is not good and has not been good for a long time. They I think they said on the broadcast they're on their fourth coach since Ben Olsen. So Ben Olsen was their coach. He was a longtime player and then became a coach. He coached there for several years. I don't remember exactly how many, but since they moved on from him, and he kept the team good, not great. Like he was able to keep them competitive, but they were never going to really win a trophy with him for what, just reality. So since they've gotten rid of him, I think they've had like four coaches. They just they've consistently been bad, and they are one of the legacy teams. They are the first dynasty really of this league, winning I think four MLS Cups, more so in the earlier years. But we need to first applaud Mascherano for going with the bench. I mean, this is very uncommon. Had he done it more often, maybe these guys would have a little more, playing time, a little more continuity. They wouldn't be so bad out there like they were. I mean, because I agree, they look terrible, and especially, who was bugging me the most? Kremoski. He
yeah.
was bothering me. So many bad passes. And I mean, part of it is I think he's bothering me partially because I'm like a cheerleader for him. Like I've thought at times that he's been very good, and not so much.
The thing I got to say about Gramaski is that he was constantly changing positions throughout the whole game. I think even the announcer was saying this is the fifth position towards the end that he's you know been at in this
Right.
game, just in this game, and he had to adapt. He's the youngest. He's the one that needs to adapt because he's younger. He's got he's better physically than the rest of the guys. Because we got a lot of old guys, Peter, and he had to do a lot of the running that the old guys don't do. Um, but um, but yeah, I see where you're going. Aviles should have been taken out. I have no idea why they didn't take Aviles out before, because I just thought he was terrible. Um,
Well, I mean, you can't just like do wholesale changes. Like I thought maybe at halftime they would bring in the old guys like right off the bat, right? At the beginning of the 45. They didn't. They waited a little while. Here, Wysia in the chat says you can see why rotation may not work. But you can't run these old guys into the ground. Like we're always talking about, does Mascherano have the balls to like sit Suarez? Well, he did this time. Now he didn't just pick on Suarez. So he put them all down, right? But
right.
I was actually surprised that out of any of the old guys, I thought DePaul should be the one that plays. I mean, he's younger and he just got here.
Right.
Should have played
Uh,
him and let the other guys rest. I understand letting them rest. The rotation he has, but I think what it showed is, at different times we've talked about how we have really good depth. No, we don't. Not anymore.
Not
Not anymore.
quality depth.
The depth, they got rid of the depth. The good depth is gone.
Yeah.
What we got are a lot of the academy kids that maybe good, but I don't know. It's like the first generation Academy kids. They're still, it's okay. Like Ruiz has had his moments, but he didn't look good in this game. And I would give him a pass in that this is the first game back since injury.
Agree. But yeah, there's just they did rest a lot of the better players. So yeah, we gave up the ball. We're used to holding onto the ball. DC's terrible as well. So did we have a chance? Yeah, we had a chance. Uh, Risky because we didn't. We a lot of these players didn't play. Look, Allende was also terrible
Yeah.
as playing as a nine.
And
Obando hurt again. What is up with this kid, man? He's played a couple of games and
get
that's
rid of
it.
him. Send him. Send
Yeah.
him.
Who else?
I
I
thought
hate to say it because I'm ex-Bavarian.
Baltazar Rodriguez was still hurt, but he did play and obviously scored a brilliant goal.
He lost passes as well. I mean, other than the goal, he did a couple of good things.
Yeah.
His confidence got up after the goal because it was a hell of a goal.
Yeah, a goal, you forgive everything. So nothing else matters after that goal. You forgive everything because of that goal. Julio is saying, as far as Benjamin Kramaski, that he has declined a lot. I would agree. YC is saying, here. Baldwin is saying that Benji plays too many places as the backup. Okay, but on this game, he was playing more or less where he wants to play, right?
Right.
That's what I think you were saying.
Yeah. He was. I don't know how much the coach had anything to do with it. I mean, once the changes happened, he had to adapt to other positions and stuff as the players got
Sure.
in. As Mascherano was giving
But
him
thinking about that first half, he was playing more or less where he wants to play, I think.
Right, and that was it didn't go well. But yeah, we didn't dominate. The first half we just played terrible. We had like no attack, and we didn't hold on to the ball, and everything changed in the second half once those players got in. Fafa was also not doing that well. I was thinking maybe they should have had Fafa as
the 9
instead of Allende up on top.
Yeah, I mean, but Allende, I think that's his preferred position. So it's like, all right, we're giving everybody what they want.
Yeah, and they didn't do well. So
no.
yeah,
no. So and I thought, I thought Fafa played okay. But in the first half, it seemed like there wasn't much attack to begin with. So there wasn't like, they didn't have a lot of opportunities. I think somebody said in the chat, no shots in the first half. YC is saying that Allende doesn't belong to the A team. Well, coach doesn't agree. So
yeah, well, and yeah, he's obsessed with his Argentinian players. Aviles being one of them. I think Ian Frey could have been playing his position because he's just a better player, and he was just. I was nervous with Aviles in the middle towards the end. So I was. Remember, I don't know if you saw towards the end he was playing. They were playing with a back three.
Mm-hmm.
So and they put Aviles in the middle, and I was like, oh my god, that's not a good idea.
Right.
So it was tough, man. It was I was very nervous throughout that game, especially after the first goal. It didn't look good, and I was hoping the second half they would bring in all the other players, but I'm still worried because we've got Jordi Alba's going to be out. We don't know if he's going to be out for how long. They haven't said. We don't know if Messi's coming back for the Leagues Cup game, and we need all these players to beat Orlando because Orlando's tough. They're going to be tough, Peter.
Yeah, well, let's get to that in a few minutes. But yeah, what this game really showed is how dependent we are on the old guys, because the game changed once they came in. All of a sudden, we had opportunities. All of a sudden, we had possession. It really did make a huge difference, controlling the game and things like that. and like we said, this is a game that we have to win. We're 3 games. We've 3 more games, and we've played 3 fewer games than anybody else. I didn't know how to say that. 3 games in
It came
hand,
out.
and these are the kind of games you have to win. You have to beat the team that is, you know, a poorer team than you. I was saying going into this, though, I was saying to my wife that I hope we're not like overlooking DC. I hope we're not just saying, we could play our backups because, they're not any good, right? I hope they didn't overlook them and just like, because anybody could beat anybody, right? And the difference between the best and the worst is not that much, right? And so on any given Sunday, the old saying. So hey, let's
Yeah.
play this voicemail that's specifically about this game.
What's up, mi gente? It's your boy Yankee Yank. Congratulations on the point last night at Audi. I know that you guys feel like you dropped 2 points. I get it, but let's just keep in mind that your coach used the bench. And credit to them for getting that point, considering some of those guys have not been getting a lot of playing time. An incredibly devastatingly punch to the gut just about how bad DC United currently finds itself. It's amazing how things have fallen off. My brother is still a season ticket holder. I don't know how that guy does it. The truth is, when I look back, my season ticket package was a gift from him. So shout out to my brother, who I'm sure flipped his tickets from last night again, as he always does when Inter Miami comes, to help support his international playboy jet loving, wheeling dealing, Ric Flair type lifestyle. So congratulations on the point last night at Audi. I think it's really interesting that Fafa, that Benja, that some other people got started, and if memory serves me right, that Alan was wearing the captain's armband. I think there's a message being sent there. Anyways, mad love for y'all. Holler at you later, players.
I did like that, seeing Alan. There you go.
Love to the Yankee boy.
Yeah, Yankee boy, our old friend. I was happy to see Alan wearing the captain's armband. I thought that was really cool. That I don't know what the meaning to that is, other than, hey, you've done good work and here's a reward, right? So I was happy to see that. I thought that was a really cool moment for him. It would have been a better moment had they won the game, but a point on the road is, it's fine. It's a point on the road, but I just it's like when it was being said here. Oh yeah, Mr. Krabs said even with a rotated squad, Miami still should have beat DC, and I agree. And they also didn't have their best player playing.
Right.
What's his name? The goal scorer.
Ben,
He was
Benteke.
Benteke. Yeah, he wasn't playing because of yellow card accumulation. So,
Good for us.
Yeah, exactly. And people were talking about in the chat of it was a bad night all around for a lot of teams. Like Orlando got spanked, as somebody said in the chat. They lost 5-1 to Nashville. So a lot of teams. I think Cincinnati lost. Yeah, Cincinnati lost to New York City. Columbus lost to New England. And New England. That's a team that their coach is probably on the hot seat. Caleb Porter is probably going to be looking for a job at the end of this year or maybe sometime during the year. I don't know. I'm just guessing, but I've got a feeling. So yeah, it was a tough night for a lot of clubs around the league. Atlanta was. I saw an image from Anu Weissman, our friend. He was at the Atlanta game that just played earlier today, a couple hours ago, and the stadium looked empty. I don't know what's going on there. Fans are kind of boycotting, I guess. I don't know. They're just not showing up. It was pretty empty looking.
Wow.
So
I think a lot has to do with they're just they think the team's got deep pockets. They should be able to do something, and the players aren't. It's just not meshing well for them.
yeah, Yeah. Could we see Chris Henderson lose his job? Maybe he's got another season or something in there to see if they can right the ship. But when they spend a lot of money, so they've got to be able to turn it around to warrant that kind of spending. But so yeah, you were saying that next up we have Orlando City in the League's Cup, and so that's there's been the question I've been asking a couple times on some of the game day vlogs. What's more important, MLS Cup or Leagues Cup? And I think I said in the last video, the game you're playing is the most important. So whatever game that is the most important. But clearly it seems by resting these players, the fact that we're in the semifinals of the Leagues Cup has now taken priority. It may not keep priority, right? I've always said, look, we broke the record last year as far as the Shield. We don't have to do that again this year. We just have to be in a decent spot to get into the playoffs in a position where we're hosting, right? You want to be home as much as possible. So we want to, be able to host some games there.
That
but
still didn't work out for us last year, now did it?
No.
If it wouldn't have been because we had to play 3 games, I think we would have been in.
Battered Heron Chris is here, giving us a compliment on our coverage in Orlando. Nobody watched that video though. Not a ton.
When you lose,
when you lose,
the interest goes down.
We
but
lost.
Otherwise, if we would have won, that would have broke records, Peter.
Yeah.
It was a great
but it was
video,
a fun experience for me, so I don't care. So Orlando's coming to town now. Leagues Cup, obviously that's priority. I think Messi should play. I would think so. They always downplay his injury, so we never really know what his injuries are like, but they always downplay it as like, it's just a minor soft tissue or something like that. So if we're to believe what they say, he should be rested and he should be good to go this Wednesday.
Right. Let's cross our
Alba
fingers.
might be a whole different story. We don't know, right? That's fresh. That's a fresh injury. So who knows if Alba can come? But Alba's an important piece, but Messi obviously is more important. So we need Messi, and we can't get embarrassed again. It's like, I don't want to hear it from these people in Orlando. That was one of the things that, from my video that you didn't really see because I didn't film it. But the Orlando City fans, I told you this, they got a little hooligan in them. They got a little bit of hooligan in them. I can't say this doesn't happen, but when visiting fans come to Chase Stadium, I don't really see them getting verbally harassed other than like in the stands, right? Like when you're in the bathroom or when you're getting a beer, I'm not saying it hasn't happened because I don't know, but I've never seen it. But man, was it rampant in Orlando. They're just like a little bit of hooligan in them. They won't say it to your face, but they're saying it like right next to your ear, saying it out loud as if just so you can hear. And it's like, it was funny in a sense, but it's like, they got a little, they got, I think what I told you is they got a little bit of the Napoleon syndrome, they're the little guy that's trying to be macho and big and bigger than they really are. And so,
they need us more than we need them is what it comes down to, Peter.
Tankin here says, we have a lot of hooligan in us, but we behave. There you go. But you behave. Yeah. I see visiting fans at our stadium all the time. I don't see them getting harassed. And again, I wasn't personally harassed, but I did I'm in line to go to the bathroom and guys like just yelling just behind my ear, and wanting me to turn around, I'm sure. And I didn't, but it was just the general vibe. Also, there are fans like going F you Suarez and I think that's all fun and game and all that. I don't really care, but it's just like a different element, and there's a little bit of hooligan, which makes me want to shut them up even more. Right? We've got to be able to win this game, not only to advance, but just to shut the hell up. We can have the argument in that we win the games that matter. Right? If we beat them in this game, then we can say we it was a meaningless midweek game or weekend. No, it was a Sunday. It was a meaningless middle of the season game in the MLS, and nobody really cared.
Yeah, I hear you, Peter. But it's going to be a tough game, especially if Messi doesn't play. Alba, I mean, not to say that he's replaceable, but we do have Allen who does a pretty good job on that side. I think everybody else seems to be okay. Every time I look, I think Sergio is doing well, but now that he's got DePaul, we don't rely totally on Sergio to do the passing because DePaul could do it.
Right.
And and DePaul is starting to play better every game. He's starting to get used to the I saw him all over the place when he was on, so that makes me feel better. Plus, he's, like you said, he's younger than the other old guys, so he's probably going to be the future of this team once Messi and the rest of the guys they're going to build around him if he wants to stay, of course.
Ycia says Baltazar should start on Wednesday. Suarez and DePaul like him. They will play well together. I mean, I saw Suarez give Baltazar Rodriguez like a hug and said something to his ear after the goal. Yeah, Suarez likes him when he scores. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how he feels if he screws up or he perceives him to screw up. The way he perceives Fafa to screw up, right? He has issues there. But I don't know. What do you think about Baltazar Rodriguez starting?
I'm not. He scored a wonderful goal, best goal I've seen, I think, all year. But he was. A lot of people forget, because he scored. He made some bad passes.
Right.
I still think he's a little rusty. I wouldn't put him in the beginning, to tell you the truth.
Bring him on off the bench and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think that's fine. Battered Heron Chris is asking, weren't the Orlando City fans called out for cursing in their cheers when the opposing goalie kicks? Yeah, so you could hear that a little bit in my game day vlog. Every time, and I was shocked when they did it because MLS has really,
Crack down,
try to
right?
squash that kind of stuff, with supporters clubs. And every time our goalie would do the goalie kick, they would say, "You suck, a-hole," except they said it. And they did it like twice. I think after the second time, the announcer did chastise them. And then their response a few minutes later was to say, "F you, Suarez." So obviously the warning didn't do anything. And here's the thing about Orlando that also was interesting going to their stadium. And I don't know, Ed, you've been to like the LAFC stadium, you've been to Austin's. This is the first time I went to support my team in an away stadium. This is the first time I've experienced this. But their announcer was super unprofessional too. And I guess if I was an Orlando City fan, I would love it probably. But he's like, for example, if we get a yellow card, he doesn't say, Baltazar Rodriguez earns a yellow card. No, he would say, Inter Fort Lauderdale gets a yellow.
Obnoxious, right?
Oh yeah, on the PA, calling us Inter Fort Lauderdale, and then using that taunting kind of speech, like, "Hey," it was like, it was funny, but yet like unprofessional, and I think that just totally eggs on the supporters. So,
Right.
I'm not. It was just an interesting thing for me.
I wonder if they do that when if they do that when they play with other teams.
I don't know. Yeah, I wonder the same. I've told you before, and I said this in a tweet, they care more about us than we do about them. For example, throughout the game, now these are funny. Don't get me wrong. They did a good job. This is all funny, but we don't do this kind of stuff. Now, is it because we don't care or we're just not creative? I don't know. But like,
we don't care.
pregame, they've got their mascot, which we need a mascot. They've got their mascot that does a short video clip of kicking herons and painting purple and all that kind of stuff, and it's like silly, right? It's cute. It's good job. Um, and 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 then during like halftime or whatever, they start making fun of any Inter Miami fan that they see. They put them on the jumbotron, and they put like little factoids underneath them saying, so for example, person's been wearing this same Messi shirt for the last 5 years here in Orlando, hoping to see Messi, stupid stuff like that. But again, they put effort into hating us.
Right.
And I do wonder, that's a good question. Do they do that for other teams, or is it just us? Oops, what did I just do that? How did I do that?
No, kind of got closer.
Yeah. I don't want to mess up my nice setting here. So yeah, it is interesting. I take it as they care more about us than we do about them, but it is interesting. Tank, since we're talking about fans here, we'll get back to game stuff in a second, but Tank is saying, I'm patiently waiting for La Familia to become all-inclusive and chant in English to get the whole stadium cheering together. That is something I will say. We don't chant. We sing the songs. Our supporters constantly sing the songs, which eventually you can almost tune out. Whereas I saw this both in Orlando and then also when Tigres played. A chant is powerful because it's easy, and the entire stadium can do it. And yeah, doing it in English would be helpful. But even if they did some chants in Spanish that were just 2 or 3 words, right? That you get everybody in. Now, the announcer, as we all know, tries to lead chants, and I hate that because I don't think it doesn't work. It's not organic.
Terrible.
I was making fun of him in our last game day vlog. It's not organic, and I don't like it. But when it is organic, it's powerful. I mean, Tigres fans were doing it, and they were loud. It sounded so good, and our supporters, they sound good. They their songs are nice, I guess. I don't understand them, but I guess they're good. But you can eventually, because it seems it's the same thing all game. You can almost tune it out, and it doesn't come with that force of a chant. I wish we did have some chants.
Yeah, that's always been a problem. When we were part of the supporters groups, we also tried to, push. Or I guess we didn't push hard enough, so that could be English songs as well. But we, the powers that be, don't allow it, or just haven't had. I even threw out a song, to see if they would want to do it in English, but they didn't. And it was actually pretty simple. But no, they.
I'm not even talking about songs in this case, just like I said, a chant.
But the chance they could put them also, I mean, the team could work with them and put a couple of, put some karaoke so the people could learn it. I don't know. Just an idea.
Stop yelling at me, one world, one goal. I know you left a voicemail, but we were on a roll. I see.
But yeah, the announcer, Peter, the announcer is, I hate when he does that, when he tries to intervene and tries to, be, to start the chants. It just doesn't go well. It needs to be organic, like you said.
Yeah, I agree. All right, now let's go to her voicemail.
Hey, Peter and Uncle Ed and all the great fans out there. It's Italia One Blanco. Thanks for joining us, Chris at Battered Herons, and all our regulars, Eric and Bruno, and too many of you guys to name. But thank you guys for always bringing the excitement every Sunday. And I just wanted to mention the only thing I love about DC, because they are scum, is, we used to call them that in the old days, is their Barra Brava does sing all our fusion cheers. So I was mentioning we have a whole set of cheers that, mostly in Spanish, by the way, and a lot of them are Argentine songs, but I don't know, our newer La Familia doesn't do the old songs. So maybe we can get some of those going. And then they have one for Beckham that's to the tune of One Salera. Okay, I'm not Celia Cruz, but they go, there's only one David Beckham. So hopefully when the new stadium opens, we'll get maybe a little more back of some of the aficionado stuff.
Not gonna
And
happen.
that stadium is rising like a zenith. I'm in and out of the airport all the time, taking Diego Serna, number 17, to he's still running around with all the academy and the Colombian players. And the stadium looks like, well, in the dark anyway, it looks like it's done. They were working on it at like 5, 6 a.m. with the lights and people working already. So progress looking good. Love you guys. Peace out.
Thank you. One world, one goal. I hear you about the different chants. This group, and really, let's be honest. If I'm not wrong, but correct me, Tank, you're in there every single game. Ed, you were there helping to create a lot of this. As was I, but I didn't get at that point. We're coming with songs. Let's be honest, I didn't care anymore.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest.
You
Vice
had your
City
team.
really
That's all you
controls.
cared about. hmm
What's that?
You had your team. That's all you cared about. You did
Exactly.
all
Yeah.
the
And I
pushing,
didn't
and
care
you're
about.
like, whatever.
We did
I'm
what we
done with the
needed to do.
supporters.
Yeah. But if I'm not wrong, but isn't Vice City basically in control of the music? Like they're the ones that kind of run it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there's
Okay.
was
And
one guy.
that
I forgot
group
his name. Yeah.
is going to do what they want to do. Right?
They're
They've
the
got
big.
their one or two
Yeah.
songs that they're going to want to sing, and that's it. They're not going to sing the one and only David Beckham one, even though it may be awesome. And I just
They
don't
could
see it
use it for
happening.
Messi. They could do it for Messi, and
Yeah,
it
sure.
is a Spanish song. Yeah, but you could sing it in English.
Yeah. But here Waisia is saying English should be the common language, but it's not.
They could sing the Guantanamera song. They could sing it. They
Yeah.
should sing it because it's a Spanish song. It's a
We
very Miami song.
when I was more involved in stuff, we did try to push for like English and songs and just having a balance. It could be 90% Spanish, but having like one or two small things in English, it just makes it more it makes it more welcoming. So I mean, like for example, I'll go back to the Fusion days. The Fusion days were no different. I mean, One World One Gold may see it differently, but I remember going to a Miami Fusion game and I chose to sit in the supporter section and I didn't know anybody. We didn't know each other yet, Ed. I didn't have any soccer friends. I went to the games by myself. I wasn't married, nothing. And so I'd go to the games by myself. And so I went in the supporter section and they were nice enough to pass out the words on pieces of paper, which was cool, but it was all in Spanish. There wasn't anything in English. I, as white as you can get, gringo, I didn't feel included. I was gonna say I didn't feel welcome. That's not exactly true because they weren't mean to me. They weren't, it was just, hey, if you don't speak our language, you're just not part of this. And so I felt excluded. And I don't think you ever want somebody to feel excluded.
Well, and a lot of these guys are still around. They're the OGs, the aficionado guys. Most of them are in Vice City. There's Lewis, there's Iggy, there's who else? Facundo, I hadn't seen him, but he used to be one of the presidents, I think. Lewis later became the president of the aficionados, and a lot of these guys, you know, are still around. So I don't know how influential they are anymore in the supporters group, but they've been around since the beginning, and I think they should include some English chants.
Yeah.
I mean, the one we were talking about, you could easily adapt it to Leo Messi.
Sure.
It doesn't have to be to David Beckham. It's doable.
Yeah.
But they don't.
One World One Goal says we had a few English at Miami FC, remember? Ultras. Well, that's when me and Ed were in charge, right? And I had a little more say, right? Because, I created the Ultras and eventually at one point for a long time I was running it and it was more gringos helping to create the songs. It was Brian Corey and we had a really bad English song that he created. It was awful, but we sang it. And then eventually Ed took over and things like that. And same thing, Tank is saying, what about the Fort Lauderdale Strikers in the 2010s? Yep, we had some English chants. It was more balanced. But these group of individuals did not go to those games and were not interested in those games. So anyways, Didn't plan on getting down that rabbit hole of English
Memory
to
lane.
Spanish chants, but
Yeah.
you know, it's a thing. You want people to feel included. That was always my thing. Is I wanted everybody to feel included, and so like even if you like for example in the Miami FC days, wanting people to feel included, it was like I felt like we would have a tailgate party where we cooked food and it was free. We gave it away to anybody. It doesn't matter who you were, if you're a part of the group or not. We gave food away. It was now the team helped us with that, but and Julio Caballero would cook, and I would prep it all the night before and all that. But my job, to me at least, my job on the day of was meeting and greeting, of being like the mayor of the tailgate and making sure everybody felt included and welcome and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's important. Julio Enriquez says Siege had one English song a few years ago. Yeah, I think they tried to sing it, right, and they just got drowned out. Nobody supported them. I mean, if the big band outpowers you, good luck.
Yeah, they're not gonna sing it. There's just some people that are opposed to singing some songs. If people start trying to do something organically, if it's not in their playlist, they're not going to play it.
Right? Exactly. All right, let's go back a little bit to Orlando game, and let's talk about who I put in the thumbnail, Mascherano. So I'm at the game. Obviously, I don't at the Tigres game. I don't know any of this is going on. Eric Thomas is chatting us up after the game, saying, "Hey," or during the game or whatever. I didn't see it until after the game about what Mascherano's done, and I'm like, "What happened? I don't know," because we don't at the game. You don't know, and so what do we think about Mascherano? Basically sitting behind the coach's bench, which apparently was not illegal. That's okay. So if it's not illegal, if they said that's a designated area, then fine, he's fine.
Yeah.
And being on the phone, now he says he was on the phone with the video analyst. Sure didn't look like that because you see the assistant coach with his cell phone in his face as well. So is Mascherano lying? Do you believe Mascherano, Ed, in that situation?
No, because it was pretty obvious he wasn't. So, but they're gonna do what they're gonna talk what they're gonna talk, and what they're gonna say what they're gonna say because they don't want to,
make it worse.
Have the wrath and make things worse. So, but yeah, it's pretty obvious that he was talking to them, and I'm gonna see how interesting it's gonna be the next game because I think he's suspended for the whole game. So is he gonna be sitting in the same place?
I wonder.
Or yeah,
I don't think they allow it again. He even was being very snarky in the interviews after a practice, and apparently had a little back and forth with our buddy Franco Panizo. And Franco put up a quote, and I appreciate him doing this because all this stuff is in Spanish. But the fact that Mascherano said, "So many things are done wrong. Why can't I do something wrong once?" Do you want your coach to say something like that? That's him basically admitting it. And the way I read it, that's basically him admitting that, yeah, I did it, but who cares? Everybody does it.
Right.
So I think now, yeah, so he says he's not, there's no proof, right, that he was calling the bench. You can't prove it, even though it sure looks like it, right? All evidence, points to, guilty. But you can't prove it. The only thing they can do for the next game is move him, right? And I was watching another podcast that I like, Morning Kick Around. I like this guy Jason Davis. He does stuff on Sirius Radio, and he was pulling up some photos of other coaches doing the same thing. Mexican coach, national team coach, doing the same thing, but he was on a big walkie-talkie. I mean, it was very, very obvious. So it's not the first time it's been done. But here, I in some ways, I agree with Wysia here, in that at least Mascherano showed he cared. I mean, part of me now, I know Eric doesn't agree with this because Eric Thomas in the chat, and we were chatting with him a little bit, and he says Mascherano's lying through his teeth. I know. I think Eric was kind of embarrassed that our coach is acting this way. It makes us look bad, and in some ways, I agree. In other ways, like I put in the thumbnail, always interesting. Inter Miami finds a way to always keep things interesting. At least he showed that he cared. I agree. He showed that he cared. Okay, fine. It's not the right thing. And it's also leaning into, like, look, everybody hates Inter Miami already. So he just leaned into it. You know, he's the villain. I mean, he even said it like, hey, I did something wrong. Why can't I do something wrong? Everybody else does something wrong. So where does he sit in this game? He made some snarky comment that, hey, maybe I'll sit at home. That was one of his snarky comments I saw as well, that maybe I'll just watch it from home.
Well, he could. The thing is that, sometimes the signal isn't, live. It's sometimes delayed by a little bit, so that's going to mess them up.
It is, because that was where I was going to say, yeah, here's what I was going to say. He could be on the phone at home and nobody's watching, and all the assistant coach has to have is a little earbud. Thank you to Apple or something. It's we're all Apple, TV people because of, the thing. But even if, as long, he could be anywhere in the stadium, so he could see it live, just somehow hiding from the camera, and he could be on the phone. He could have his own earbuds in, so he doesn't even have to be holding a phone. Earbud to earbud, and they could talk. Then they would have to say, okay, assistant coaches, you're not allowed to have earbuds. That's going to be the rule. No earbuds, because at this point you can't trust the fact that he won't be cheating in the Orlando game.
That's true.
So, some people thinking, I guess, maybe we're making too much out of this. Jerry Barrios says, like, he's going to get coach of the year because he used the damn phone. Give me a break. I don't know exactly what you mean there, but we're having some fun with it. That's at the end of the day. That's all we're doing.
In the end, yeah, it does make a difference. It wasn't against the rules, and so everything's good.
Yeah.
Everybody's just hating because they thought it was MLS rules, but no, this is a different organization. It's the Leagues Cup. It's a different tournament, so they're gonna have their own different rules, and it worked out the way that it did for him, and we won.
Baldwin says, I love all the fans defending Mascherano. Like, it's okay that he did it. Leagues Cup rules allow and going after Franco. Yeah, that's not cool. I mean, again, I couldn't understand it because it was in Spanish, but I do know based on his post that he asked some questions to Mascherano. Mascherano did not like it. And apparently there was some banter back and forth that was maybe a little on the aggressive side. I don't know. That's not cool. Franco gets a lot. Go ahead.
But Franco does. He's not afraid to ask the questions. He's always done this since we've known him, and we've known him since back in the Strikers days.
He was a kid.
And he's always been, straight up. He doesn't do, the little, weak questions. He'll go for the jugular, man. He's not messing around.
Like he made a post defending himself, saying, "Look, I'm not a fan of Inter Miami. I'm covering Inter Miami, right?" And so, look, I respect the fact that somebody is willing to ask the tough questions. Now, he gets a lot of hate online, and I think sometimes he's poking the bear on purpose. At least that's my impression. I don't, but in this case, he's doing his job. You see something is wrong, you ask, and that's it. But as far as like defending, like for me personally, I'm not defending him. I'm a rule follower. If anybody that knows me,
oh yeah.
I'm a big rule follower. I would not have done that. But I can laugh about it too. I could see a little bit of humor in it, and I could get a little laugh out of it. And just, because here's the thing is I don't take any of this too seriously. Like, I'm not that kind of fan. Like, I'm into the sports because it's fun. I'm not dying over the fact if they win or lose, right? I want them to win, and I'm cheering for them to win. But if they don't, guess what? I move on and I'm fine. right? It's like, I don't take it that serious. It's fun. And so to see my coach doing that was kind of fun.
Right.
But again, I would not have done that. So, you know.
Agreed. Yeah, and that's good. We need people like that because everybody else, because it's Messi's team, and they're all just being real easy on all the players, and I like somebody that's at least gonna. Hopefully, he won't get banned though. That's the only bad thing.
Yeah. I mean, he shouldn't. I mean, if the team took away his credentials because he's asking tough questions, that's wrong. Now, I didn't hear, because again, it's in Spanish. I don't know. So if he asked it in a rude or incorrect way, well, then that's wrong on him. I don't know that to be the case. And everything I know about Franco is he's a good guy. So I don't think that would happen. But so he just, again, we went on a tangent. I didn't plan on talking about Franco, but I do use Franco's tweets a lot of times for subject matter on here because he has quotes and I like it. We just make sure we give him credit. Baldwin, as far as the Franco story goes, I love reading Franco. Everyone seems to cater to Messi mania and fluff pieces. 99% of the Miami press don't even know what a DP is. I would agree. And then on the flip side, Nick Smith says Franco just trying to egg him on to get views and clicks. That's literally his job, to get eyes on him. So I don't agree with that completely, Nick. But to your point, is it his job to get clicks? Yeah, but I think he does it in a professional way. Like, look, I'll create a thumbnail. Look, we use Messi a lot in our thumbnails. It's to get clicks.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of it too. You do what you got to do to get a click. Hopefully somebody watches and enjoys once they click in. But sometimes you need a little something to get them to click. But I think he does it in a professional way. Anyways, do you think we can win this game against Orlando? Right? We're assuming Messi's playing, and Mascherano's obviously sitting, but he'll be on the phone, so he's still coaching. What do you think? How do you think we fare?
I think we'll do better, especially if Messi plays. The team plays a lot better, a little, when Messi's there. Because Messi, it only takes his a moment of magic, Peter Brown. He just needs to, find that opening and he'll score. He doesn't need that much space, too. He's got incredible aim. He's really great at shooting. So I think we could win this one. But it's going to be tough because Orlando kind of has our ticket. They kind of know what they can do to try to beat us. So, and they've done it. They've beat us over here as well. So we need to do what we can to try to get that win. And I think this is a final before the, definitely the final before the final. But this is like a final for us. I think either if it's LA or Seattle, we play next, we'll be able to beat them. Yeah, most people are saying Seattle will probably be the win. And the best thing about that is that we'll probably play in Seattle the final because, which is not good for us. They play on turf, and they have an incredible stadium that will definitely be packed. So, I don't know if LA's got. I think since we were higher than them in the standings, we should get the game if LA wins. So I'm hoping LA wins. We got a better.
I would assume. And how about LA? I mean, they've sucked this entire MLS season, but they're finding a way to keep moving on in this tournament. So congratulations to them.
Yeah, they won. They also won the MLS game. So they're starting to
turn
add
things around. Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And Ricky Puig will be back. So soon.
Will he be back for this game?
I think at the end of this month, he's supposed to come back. Yeah.
Okay.
So they'll definitely get a little bit better.
All right. So yeah, I think we come away with a win as well. One World, One Goal is saying, if we are unified and inspired, no one can stop us. Suarez leads the pitch verbally, whether you like it or not, and Messi non-verbally. Suarez's verbal leadership is sometimes good, and ask Fafa how good it is. Sometimes it's not so good. Sometimes it's not so good.
Not so good sometimes, yeah.
But again, just like the Mascherano thing, hey, he cares. Suarez cares. And so that's, I
He
mean,
wants
he
to
is
win.
definitely invested, and that's a good thing. Another thing that I don't know if anybody cares, speaking of caring, Fort Lauderdale United, the women's team, this is something we should care about. They played their first game of the season. This is a team that they made it to the championship game, lost in the championship game, and then they go ahead and somehow, I don't know if it's people choose to leave or people, they cut people, because there's not a lot of information on this team other than what they put out, but they lost 14 players, and one of them being their best player. And that best player is Addie McCain, who scored most of their leader in goals in I think the entire league, and was then playing on the team they were playing against now. So she moved to Lexington, and they were playing this weekend. So it was ended up in a 3-3 draw. So support the women. There was actually a comment about women in here about Damian Guzman. So I thought that tied in a little bit as we wrap up the show. What's up, guys? If they're ever to have an NWSL team for Miami, their stadium has to be Miami Freedom Park. So I don't know. I think the idea behind the women's team that they've talked about would be to play in Fort Lauderdale. I mean, they could change their mind, but I mean, originally we had heard that they would be in Fort Lauderdale Stadium. So because they got to use that stadium for something, and they're gonna reduce the stadium a little bit. At least the corner seats will be gone, so it'll be a little bit smaller. So I think it would be in Fort Lauderdale, but you never know. Baldwin is saying, is Fort Lauderdale US1 team still coming? Yeah, they're going to have a League One team. Fort Lauderdale United is going to have a League One team for men next year. So they've got, I think, a League Two team right now. For the men, they do have a team for the men, but it's that straight out of college, one step above. And oh yeah, Mr. Krabs says he would love to have an NWSL team. Well, if you want to see women play, go support Fort Lauderdale United. There is definitely a difference in quality. It's funny, is they're both, I've talked about this before, they're both Division One. And this is just what tells you that division doesn't really mean anything in this country, right? Because they are the same division, but it's a very different product between the super, what is it called now? It's called, they've got a sponsor, Gainbridge Super League. The Gainbridge Super League is now, they got a sponsor. The league actually has a sponsor, title sponsor. So there's definitely a big difference in product. So, but support the the women. I might go next weekend. Next weekend they've got a game against the Carolina Ascent, they were pretty good last year. So I might go next week, because Ed, after this League's Cup game for Inter Miami, which I will be at, we have 2 weeks off.
Yeah. International. I think it's an international.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think because there's World Cup qualifying games, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So they're gonna... Our next game won't be till September 13th. So we're playing on 8/27 and then again on September 13th. So wow. I mean, if it's an international break, I assume we're Messi definitely wants to play then in this Orlando game, not only for us, but because he needs to get warmed up to play for Argentina.
Yeah, Argentina, they're already in the World Cup, but he still wants to play.
He still wants to play, though.
Yeah.
If they've got a game, he wants to play in it.
Exactly. So. He's going to be there, so it's all good.
All right, Ed. So what do we got coming this week? So we definitely will have during the middle, say Thursday, early Thursday or late night Wednesday, probably early Thursday, we'll have a game day vlog. So, but is there anything else coming this week?
I'm not sure yet if we're going to do the Spanish, so got to talk with Marquito about that. But we will, for next week, we'll definitely try it. At least we'll try this weekend to do another construction video, so we got something for the following week, because it's going to be empty.
So about that, let me ask a real quick question. Those of you that are still here, I was thinking about doing the next construction video, but I actually was thinking about making it into 2 videos. So I was thinking about doing a travel video, how to get to the stadium from Broward without a car, right? So there's two options. I could take the Brightline, which I was telling you the price. It's expensive. It would end up costing me almost $50 just to go back and forth. It's pretty crazy. Because also
Wow.
you got to park your car, and that's $10 to park at the Brightline station. So, but anyways, what would you rather see? Would you rather see a travel video coming from Broward using Brightline or using Tri-Rail? Tri-Rail is way more affordable for people, but it's not open late for like game days, at least at this time.
I got a great idea, Peter Brown.
Okay.
You make a video for both. You come down
Okay,
on
but
Brightline.
that's
I'll
two
pick
different
it up.
days. Which do you
Oh,
want to see
okay.
first? Those are because I think I know where you're going with that. Go down one train, go up the other train.
Exactly.
But let's be honest, we want to get the most content. We want two different videos.
Well, we can have 2 videos, 3 videos out of that one.
Maybe.
We're talking after the show during the show.
Yeah. Well, I was like, this is like show prep, but you guys that are here every single week are invested in what we do. So I was like, let me get some thoughts from the folks in the chat. I know, Mr. Krabs says do a travel video. One World One Gold says Uber is about $50 to Fort Lauderdale, or can be $75. Well, I wouldn't Uber. I got a car. I would drive but I'm just thinking, like, there's not a lot of parking going to be at Miami Freedom Park, and so they want people to take mass transit. So I was like, let me experiment, because obviously, if a lot of the people are coming that are in Miami, they don't care. But I mean, if you're coming from Broward, still wanting to support the team, how would you get there? So I don't know. I didn't get really a vote in the chat which they prefer to see first, a Brightline
Leave it
or
in the comments.
Yeah, put them in the comments. If you made it to the end of the video, put it in the comments. What would you prefer, a Brightline video or a Tri-Rail video? So, which one would you prefer? YCS says each of you has one. I don't know what that means. All right. Well, anyways, thanks everybody for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And Eric Overland says Tri-Rail is more hood. So you're saying I should do Tri-Rail so I could be a little more hood-like?
Your hood.
or be careful. Or is that what you're saying? All right, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you next time.